Welcome to At Home is Now. My name is Wanako Oberhuber, and I'm your host. My guest today is Lora Cheadle. Welcome to the podcast, and you can correct the way I said your name. And then
You were perfect. You said it right the right way.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I like to start out with a question that is very relevant to all of us. What is your passion about at the present, and how does it contribute to your joy and happiness in life?
Oh, I love that. I actually have two passions at the present. My first passion might seem materialistic or trivial or frivolous, but I am lifting heavy, heavy weights, and it's so fun to feel the power in my body. So that is my first kind of like more floofy. And you know what? How that contributes, I really think when we have physical strength, it helps us remember that we also have mental strength. So I do think there's a big connection because when we feel strong, we behave in a much stronger way. So that's my first one. And my second is definitely my passion around helping people understand how prevalent betrayal is in the world and what they can do to regulate their own nervous systems. We can't prevent bad things from happening, but what we can do is take care of ourselves along the way.
That's a really, really good one. And yes, of course, the world, according to A Course in Miracles, the world came about through a thought of separation.
Yes.
So, yes, of course, betrayal has to be prevalent in a dream of separation, logically. So, yes, it's very important to be able to regulate your nervous system and get back to feeling connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's so easy, even when we understand that there is no separation. It's so easy to just get rocked by the world or by a circumstance and to fall into fear.
Yes, and I certainly know that, and I'm full of fear at present. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very fearful at present. So I'm going through that, and I think it's very, very important to learn how to work with that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not something we need to hide. It's something that is there when it's there, and
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we need to face it. And even if we don't succeed right away, it still is important to face it anyways.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and like you said, we all face it, and when we take the shame and the stigma out of it and we just say, "Yeah, I'm in fear right now," it really helps all of us.
Yeah. Okay, then let's go into how you came to be passionate about this, because you must have gone through or learned something in life that led to a passion to helping people with this. And probably, it sounds like it, you learned a way to work with that
Yeah.
and to move forward. So let's hear the story.
Exactly. Yeah, this was nothing I ever planned on doing, I can tell you that much. Um, I thought I had a really good marriage. You know, there's ups, there's downs, I get that, but I really thought that my husband and I had a great marriage. And after 23 years of marriage, I found out that he had been cheating on me for 15 of those years with 5 different women. And my entire reality shattered. All of my kids' childhood, our memories, holidays, vacations, like everything in the last 15 years was not what I thought it was. And it was the most soul shattering, devastating experience that I have ever been through. And, you know, with so many devastating experiences, it's not like you really can find necessarily that key piece or that quality help right up front. You know what I mean? It's like you spin your wheels and sometimes you get further in, and sometimes things hurt a lot worse before you start climbing your way out. So it was a long, painful, slow recovery. Um, 8 years that happened 8 years ago. My husband and I are still together. We have done enormous amounts of soul growth, work, understanding ourselves, the world. It's been a good journey. You know what I mean? It's not like, "Oh, yay, this was such a good journey." But it was one of those things where the gifts of what we went through with the rewards are so deep and so profound.
Wow, that's a decision to work on it instead of saying, "Get out of here. I have enough of
Mhm,
you. You
mhm,
betrayed me."
mhm.
And yeah, the other side is also to figure out why it hurt so much, right? And what's one's own story is in the whole matter, right? So that
Yes.
this must be really, really, especially if you choose to stay together with the person, you have to figure out your reasoning for that and why you are willing to go on that, and why, and also for your husband, he had to decide to continue even though you knew about it, and were asking him to change things, probably, or
Mhm.
telling him to change things, otherwise we can't move forward or whatever, right? I don't know what the
Yes.
process was for you.
Yes. All of that, all of it. And sometimes leaving is the right decision. It really is. But in my case, in our instance, we both felt like it would almost be too easy to leave. You leave, you don't have to deal with it, you don't have to look at your stuff, you don't have to figure it out. You just walk away, and that all of those wounds would still be there. Everything that was unhealed in us would still be there. And yes, we both decided to do the work. And this might sound triggering to some people, but we didn't care if we stayed together or if we separated. What we cared about was doing the work. And if doing the work led us to separate, we would separate from a place of clarity. And if doing the work led us to stay together, we would end up staying together. And we didn't have like a goal in mind, like, "I'm gonna save the marriage no matter what." It was, I'm learning every last bit that I can learn from this, and we'll see where that leads.
Yeah, I think that certainly takes away some of the pressure on it.
Yeah.
Let's find out whether we're staying together or not, but let's
Yeah.
find out together.
Yes. And you're right. What was he willing to do to look at himself? Because what kind of a person makes that choice? A very wounded person. So it's like he needed to look at himself. And as long as he was doing that, I was willing to stay engaged in the relationship. And also, even though I didn't cause the cheating in any way, it absolutely was important for me to look at myself too. Where was I betraying myself? Why wasn't I standing up for myself more along the way? Why was I caving into all of his demands?
Yeah, that sounds very important, because I think that you're right. When someone cheats or does something that they don't openly do, right,
Mhm.
in accordance with the other person they're involved with, there must be a lot of fear and a lot of hurt and so on involved,
Yes.
because they're the one's not standing up for oneself either, right? For
Yeah.
what one needs and what one wants, and one's disappointments because one's not getting it or whatever else. There's so many things involved in it, right?
Mhm.
And
So
so
many.
it's a very, very important thing to look at. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, and I think you're right. If you can't work through your own issues, you won't be able to face the or even empathize with the issues that the other person is going through.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and how to find compassion for the other person and understanding for the other person, and having that separation of, I can have a firm boundary and I can still feel love and compassion because I know, oneness is what we ultimately are. We are in a state of oneness, and I can still have boundaries.
Yeah, that's a big one, and I think it's just as important in my life as in anyone else's, that we learn the lessons we need to learn in the situation and in the things that we're going through.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very, very, very profound thing. So maybe you would like to go into more detail in this issue of why you say, okay, betrayal is prevalent, but it doesn't mean doesn't have to be the end of things. It doesn't have to end there.
Yeah, exactly. If you go, my background, I'm a corporate attorney. So I always like to go back to the definitions to break things down. So when you do that with betrayal is defined as the breaking of an expectation that you have relied on that ruptures your view of either yourself or the world. So when you think about that, it's like, oh, wow, if you don't get a certain job that you applied for, that you really thought you were going to get, it can disrupt your identity. It can make you feel like, wait a minute, why am I not good enough? I must be an imposter. Similarly, like on a planetary level, if something happens in the world, in politics with a different country, we'll think, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what our country is about. Wait. That's how can that happen? And it can break our expectation about the world. It can rupture our worldview. So when you think about betrayal and the definition and all the different ways our view of ourself or the view of the world can be ruptured, it helps you start understanding first how prevalent betrayal is. And then second, how when that happens, it moves us into that state of fear. And then when we're in the state of fear, we look for certainty. What can I be certain of? And sometimes, even though something isn't certain, we pretend that it is just so we can feel more stable. And that's when we lock into those worldviews. This is right. This is wrong. This is good. This is bad. Because we're just desperate for certainty so we can calm and regulate ourselves instead of dealing with all of the nuances, all of the, well, yes, and no, but all of the gray areas, and allowing ourselves to just sit with how it feels to feel uncomfortable and uncertain.
Yeah, it's a very important thing, but a very uncomfortable one, for
It
sure.
is. Yeah, it is. Because we just want things certain so we can move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not and like it's not like that happens most of the time. Uncertainty stays with you for quite a long time,
Mhm.
and it does return again when the next thing happens.
Yeah.
And in A Course in Miracles, there's this you're never upset for the reason you think you are, right? Or something like that. That's
Yes.
I'm trying to put it in the I'm not saying it exactly as it's said in the book, but that's so we're never upset for the reason we think we are. So actually that means that we always are thinking that something's happening for this or that reason, and we're wrong.
Yes. Yes. And that's one of my favorite sections or readings from the course too. I love that. And when you think about the infidelity, obviously I was upset. But when you think about it surface level, why am I upset? Well, I'm upset because he cheated. That's not it. It's I'm upset that I let myself trust. I'm upset that I didn't see things. I'm upset that, you know what I mean? There's so many different layers and levels. I'm upset that he was a wounded person. I'm upset that his mom created the abuse that, you know what I mean? It's such this messy ball of whatever that no, it's not just that. It's so many other things.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's so many, yeah, like you said, nuances, so many parts of it. And yet it all comes back to the same thing. It's fear, right? In A Course in Miracles, it says it's either love or fear. So either we're calling for love or we're extending love, right? So
Yes.
so I don't know which exactly I'm doing at the moment, probably calling for love, but anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the answer is the same according to A Course in Miracles. It's always love is always the answer, no matter
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And then just another thing from the course that I love is you can have a miracle or you can have a grievance. And how often do we wanna hang on to those grievances? Yeah, but he did this, and yeah, but she did this, and it's like you can have your grievance, but it's not gonna bring you peace. So, would you rather have a miracle? And sometimes that's really hard, and sometimes the answer is like, "No, I'm mad. I wanna keep my grievance for a while here." But then having that awareness that, all right, if you choose that, then you are choosing disconnection and you are choosing not to be in peace.
Yeah, and it's okay. And it's, the other thing is I like to want to be intentional about things, and then I
Mhm.
realize that's not working for me. Right, the idea that I could be intentional is not enough. That I'm intentional, or that I'm the cause of what of this or that. I do not. It's not enough, because then it triggers the next thing. Okay, then I'm guilty, or okay, but if I'm intentional, I can't be guilty. So what is true? What is wrong? Of course, it's a huge issue because we're used to feeling guilty, right? And but just because it was your soul's choice, right, doesn't mean that you as a personality can understand that choice and feel comfortable with it at this point in
Right.
life. So there's two levels. Okay, I might be able to accept at the level of the soul, or at the level of love, everything is working for my good, or that this or
Mhm.
that. But at the level of what I'm experiencing right now, there's something totally different. There's fear, there's anger, there's disappointment, there's guilt. There's, of course, in A Course in Miracles, it only speaks of guilt, but that's the
Right. But it's all of them. Yeah.
but of course, fear is the basis for all of that,
Mhm.
according
Mhm.
to A Course in Miracles. Yeah, so and I think that makes a lot of sense. The idea of separation
Yeah.
being the cause of our discomforts.
Mhm. Mhm. And I like how separated that, human and the soul, because I think sometimes when we're on a spiritual path, we also get stuck in the belief that we should never be angry or we should never feel guilty or we should never be depressed or we should never because we should know better. And it's entirely possible to know better and to still have human emotions. And that's okay. We're supposed to have bad days. We're supposed to be in grief. We're supposed to, that's okay, and to not shame ourselves or to not bypass that when we can identify and recognize my human is struggling with this, but I do know better and I'm just moving my way through. I've got this. I think that's what makes our healing faster because the whole what we resist does persist. So feel our feelings, know better, and then do better when we're ready.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it doesn't mean that one feels like one's got this just because one knows better. Not at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, wouldn't that be nice just to be like, "Oh, yeah, I got
Yeah,
it."
that it's God, right? Like in A Course in Miracles, it says trust is a solution for everything. Okay, you were speaking about, okay, why did you feel guilty because you trusted because of this and that, right? So
Yeah.
the level of trust that we're speaking of, that is spoken of in A Course in Miracles, and that we're speaking of here, there's a whole deep dive to go into about that as well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And like that, trusting ourselves versus trusting other people. because I don't really feel like we can trust other people until we fully trust ourselves. And trust is a tough thing because it takes that radical responsibility, and that's hard to do. It's hard to always check in with ourselves. And I won't say hard, I'll say it's not our habit. We want to say, "Well, my stock advisor told me this, my" you know what I mean? "My minister told me this, my mom told me this." We are so used to and conditioned to relying on things that we hear from other people or things that we hear in the media, and we're not conditioned to go inside and say, "How does this feel in my body? How does this feel in my thoughts? Is this right for me? Yes or no?" And that's really where it starts. When we can trust that inner alignment, then we can trust ourselves and then we can trust others.
Yeah, I think that there's the other level of it that we do not trust ourselves.
Mhm.
Even when I listen to what's going on in myself, I will most likely discover that I'm not trusting myself at all, and I'm not trusting what's going on. I'm not feeling comfortable with it at all, right?
Yeah.
And I'm resisting with everything I've got. Uh, on the one level, on the other level, something is saying this is necessary, right? This is what you
Mhm.
need to go through. This is where your lesson is, right? And
Mhm.
it's really like, okay, um, I will be going through everything, right?
Yeah.
In this, and so yeah, it's the trust. I think that the thing of trust, you were right. Of course, if you can't trust yourself or you can't trust your creator or whatever levels of it you want to look at it, trust is a huge thing, and trust does not mean that you trust someone to be faithful to you, right?
Right. Right.
Trusting that person does not mean that they will be faithful to you because you trust them, right?
Right.
Because it's a different thing to trust someone than to trust have conditional trust, as you would probably put it, conditional love, right? You
Yes.
are expecting something, right, in
Mhm.
return for that it has
Yeah.
to be in a certain way, and that may not be the case, or is
Mhm.
never the case. Let's put it that way. It's not possible for someone else to fulfill all your expectations and all your ideas of what they should be like. It just
Mhm.
won't happen.
Nope.
And we also notice, and I've noticed in myself as well, I'm not fulfilling all my expectations or wishes on myself either.
No, we can't. We never can.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's a very different thing. Trust does not mean that your expectations will be fulfilled.
Right. Right. And then part of that too, again, I know this is all part of my lawyer background, but the communication piece, the advocacy piece, there's a difference when we have this awareness in us that I expect something different or that I want something different, but then how do we communicate that? How do we advocate for what we want? How do we speak clearly? How do we, that's a whole different layer too. Okay, I can get my inner world aligned. I can connect with the universe, I can do all these different things, but I'm not just one human sitting here alone. There's all these people that I have to interact with, friends, family, job, just in life. How do I maintain that connection and that oneness, but then communicate in ways that will actually be heard by another person? And what do I do when somebody is intentionally not hearing me? Or what do I do when somebody is just not understanding? Like how do I maneuver in the world? Because that's another thing I think in that, we can get into those beautiful places of meditation or prayer and it's perfect, but then other people ruin it. And it's like, so how do I do this with other people?
Yeah, and that's a big one. When you think of communication isn't even possible if you look at it that way, right?
Right.
because as long as we feel separate, we cannot hear each other anyways.
Yes.
So the question is, how do we work with the knowledge that we don't hear each other anyways and yet get along, right? So
Yes.
so there is a totally different level going on there that doesn't, where we are at peace with each other and we are at one.
Mhm.
And so it's a very tricky one, right? So I've discovered, okay, I can't even communicate clearly because I don't even know myself, right? So there's no way I will ever communicate clearly, right?
Right.
As long as I feel separate. So I cannot, and even if I felt whole and I was encountering someone else that I see as whole, but they don't feel that way, right?
Right.
My communication still may not come across as clear or cannot come across as clear.
Mhm. Yeah, it can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you're right. Beginning with that knowledge, wow, that shifts things, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, so I think it's a really important thing to look at, right? Communication per se, wonderful, right? Let's say communication is the cause of all our troubles, right? But it's
Mhm.
not,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because we cannot communicate clearly, anyways.
No.
So that doesn't mean we have to give up. No, we have to come from where we are at now, and
Right.
and so there's times when I can't communicate. I cannot, right?
Mhm.
But I'm still communicating because my body is speaking, my state of mind is showing itself. I may
Yeah.
not be able to think clearly, all these things. That's something that is I have to deal with, right? That's the case, right? But
Mhm.
it's another thing to expect other people to understand that I can't
Mhm.
do this, I can't do that, I can't feel this way, I can't think clearly, this and that. How is That's very difficult, right? But
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah. It is absolutely the truth. And when we realize that's the truth, I think at least that makes a little bit easier because so many people I don't think have even really thought about that. You know, they just think, well, if I just talk louder, if I just sh- send somebody a website link, I can prove myself and then we'll totally be on the same page. And it's like people are only thinking about it on that external layer of communication instead of that deep level. And, you know, to your point too, like what is the frequency that I'm emitting? You're reading my frequency, I'm reading your frequency. And sometimes we are so out of alignment with ourselves that it makes it really difficult for people to even know where they stand with us and for us to feel comfortable with ourselves because we are so split within who we are.
Yeah, and of course, when you're going through hardship, like I am at this point,
Mhm.
and other people who have the same issue, in similar issues that I have that as well, right?
Yes.
It's quite a challenge to face and to say, okay, that's the way it is, because and you don't want it to be that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, like you mentioned, you're going through something. Other people go through things all the time, and then that's part of it too. How can we still connect? If one person is having a great time and one person is having a difficult time, how can we just be present with each other and not try to fix another person or not try to bring another person down, but just recognize like, okay, this is two sides of the same coin. Maybe I'm in joy and you're in sadness. Maybe I'm in grief and you're in bliss. Maybe like how can we hold all of that without trying to change the other person? And I don't think we have been conditioned to do that very well.
Not at all. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we've been taught or teaching ourselves that we can fix things.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
can fix myself. Okay, I'll be able to fix this.
yeah.
And and that's not working, right?
Mhm,
I can put as
mhm.
much effort into fixing what's going on. It's not working.
Yeah.
And so that's like very humbling to recognize it's not working.
Mhm.
It's this attitude of fixing or correcting or doing things differently. None of it is working the way you would want it to. you want it to. It just isn't.
No. And then again, one of my other favorite verses is, all things are a lesson God would have me learn. And how sometimes to reconcile that, because yes, I want to fix it. I want to do more. And then it's like, but if all things are a lesson, maybe I'm exactly where I need to be right now.
Yeah, maybe. But but not being able to fix things is very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it also has what you were saying before, thinking you need to trust the people who should know, right? And then finding out you can't because they don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually, it's more like getting to know each other's unknowingness.
Yeah, totally.
Each other's baffledness, not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah, it's hard. And then like that, something I also go back to is definition of fixed. Like, who says it's supposed to be one way or the other anyway? Maybe this is truly how it's supposed to be. And then I'm supposed to do something else instead of fix it. And maybe I just don't know what that something else is yet.
That's another thing. We don't know what it is for, right? Like in A Course in Miracles, it says in one of its lessons, we don't know what anything is for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I basically don't know, right?
Right.
And it's very, very uncomfortable not to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And maybe by fixing it, I'm really ruining things, and I'm actively taking steps that are against my best interest because I think I know better than God. I think I know better than the universe. And sorry, but I don't think we do. We might think we do, but we don't.
Yeah, I do know that that's one of the ideas I have carried a lot, right? The idea that I know better than God, I would do a better job. God is doing, right?
Yep. I love that one. I'm like, I've got this. No, I don't. Yes, I do.
And so, yeah. But even with that idea, it didn't work, right?
Yep.
So, even if at first it feels like empowering. Oh yeah, I'm so great. I know better. It goes together with thinking one knows better than other people, right? Or better than this and that.
Yeah.
And it's a very, it is when you look at it in hindsight, and it still is the case. Of course, I still think I know better than God, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Right. But it even to the degree of recognizing that, right? It's still a very challenging thing to recognize. Okay, I think I know better than God, or I'm convinced I know better than God, and it's not working. And that's something that's gonna be the case as long as I think I know better than God, right? Yeah. Most likely, right?
Right.
But I don't think that's true. I don't want it to be true.
Sure, I've got it this time. I'm sure I do. Yeah. It's just so many things again, it goes back to, the very beginning of the course. I don't know what anything is for. And that's so true on so many different levels.
Yeah, and even this experience that you say, God, I want to know what you want from me, and you get no answer, right? And you're like, oh my God, what's going on here, right? And even in A Course in Miracles, it says, if you ask, God will tell you, right? But you're not hearing it. I'm not hearing it, right? So, okay, well, and then you again come into this feeling of guilt. Yes. I must be doing something wrong.
Yes.
And so I'm not, I should be able to fix this, right? I should know how to fix this, right? So let's get back to the fixing. So I thought that was a very important thing that you said about your marriage as well. that you said, okay, we're not here to fix things. We're going to look at it together, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, because I don't know what is best, but I know there's a lot of lessons I can learn, and that was also a big turning point in the healing. Like, so many of us wanna fix the other person. You know what I mean? And we do, I think, see other people more clearly than we see ourselves. I fully believe that's true. But there's so often when we're not really focused on ourselves, but we're focused on other people or the state of the world or something that we're dissatisfied with, and we can't control anything outside of ourselves. And it's that constant reminder, "Mm-mm, it's only about you. I can only control the way I think. I'm the one that has to see things differently. I can't tell well, I can tell other people, maybe you should see things differently, but I can't convince them to do that, nor is it my job. I have to see things differently. I have to do things differently. And then I have to be present with myself enough to, like that, be able to learn, where am I being guided? What is feeling right to me? What am I seeing and experiencing? And is this taking me greater more into love or more into fear?
Yeah, the thing is, I can't even fix myself. So, so what am I trying to do there, right? I can't even recognize who I am. So at this point, so
Yeah.
it's really like, um, yeah, this is crazy, right? And of course,
Mhm.
of course, the miracle says the world we see is crazy, right?
It
Because
is.
it is a dream of separation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, I what you said about I can't even recognize myself, sometimes we can't recognize ourselves because we're looking down here. And when we realize we are one with God, we are one with source energy, or we are one with that. So often when we can't recognize ourselves, I found it's because we're looking too low. And we are so much bigger and broader and shiny and sparklier than that. But we're still looking down here on a human level saying, "Where am I? Where am I?" Well, I am everywhere. I am everything all at once. I am the power that grows forests and moves oceans and guides solar systems. Like, that is who I am. But I'm so locked into trying to find myself at a human level that I miss my own divinity.
Yeah, I cannot answer to that. I don't know. Um, at this point, I can
Mhm.
only hope that that's true.
Mhm. Mhm.
I really, at times, you have this feeling that could be true, right? And then,
Yeah.
but it's this cycle of hope and desperation that is so devastating, right?
Yes.
So yeah, how, like you were speaking of about calming the nervous system, yeah, that's about getting out of this cycle of hope and desperation of this and that, right? You need to
Yeah.
get to a more stable place, and
Mhm.
but that's not something you can force, and that's the whole thing. I can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the reason I love looking at nature too. I said growing the forests and the oceans, we do cycle in and out of chaos and order. And that's a natural state of being too. And like that fixing it, we don't try to fix the ocean or the wind or the cycles of nature cycle, and the chaos and order cycle and the hope and despair cycle, and finding sometimes that peace that this is a natural order of things and I don't have to fix it, can help us at least calm the nervous system and be present with ourself a little bit more, that yes, this is the dark night of the soul. Yes, this is the chaos, and order always will be restored with or without my help.
Yeah, the what it says in A Course in Miracles about the teacher of God. The only reason they have so much patience is because they know the outcome is certain.
That helps.
Infinite patience because of that.
Yeah,
Now,
that
but
helps.
to have that certainty of the outcome is not exactly something that comes naturally to me, at least. I don't know
Mm-mm.
how. I'm pretty sure other people don't feel that natural about it either.
I agree. That's a tough one.
But yes, that is a beautiful thought, right? That
Mhm.
the outcome is certain, and at times it is comforting. But the thing is, when you're in the midst of it all, it's not something that stays, right?
Mm-mm.
This feeling of comfort through that idea
Mhm.
is one that comes in once in a while, maybe, and then it's gone again, right? And then
Yeah.
you might try to make yourself feel that way, but it doesn't work. Once again, you can't make it happen.
Right. Right. You
You can
can't,
try,
but
you can do what you want, but it doesn't work that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when this is a whole higher level, deeper level too, finding the peace in that rhythm. It's like hovering above that and being able to find peace in that, even though you might not feel like the outcome is certain.
Yeah. That's so important to look at it, but it doesn't mean that it feels feasible when you're in
Mm-mm,
the midst of it, like I am or other people are. It
mm-mm.
doesn't feel feasible, and
Nope.
yet it's of course a beautiful thought, and you'd like to have it be true for you.
Right. Right.
Even though it's not right for you at this point, doesn't feel true,
Mm-mm.
right? And so the question, so there's a lot of questions in that. Is that, well, I've said to many times before, you need to come from where you're at, and I was told, or that's the impression I got from within, is that from I felt it was from Jesus, but I can't. It doesn't matter in reality, or it matters to me, but it doesn't matter for the
For
expression.
anybody else. Yeah.
That, well, for there's people who it matters to and people who it doesn't. Anyways, the idea that I think is so important, the most powerful place to come from for teaching, for healing, for everything, is from where you're at this moment. And I thought that was so amazing. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not ready. I don't know how to do this. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not good enough. I'm not this and that. And then when you get this idea from within, this message, no, the most powerful place to teach from is from where you're at now. And it can be whatever it is. And now
Yeah.
it's messy. It's messy now. It's uncomfortable. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's devastating. And that's where it is.
Yes. Yes. And that's where that real connection is born, because we have all been in that place of devastation and despair. And that's where that it's so easy to connect when everything is good, but it's that deep, rich connection of I feel you, I hear you, I am here. It's not that you have to share, you don't have to do anything. You just show up as you are, and that's enough. And yeah, that's where that real unconditional love, that's where that real oneness begins.
Yeah. And I think when you describe your process with your husband, right, I'm sure
Mhm,
that was a topic that came up a lot, right?
mhm,
That
mhm,
that you were devastated, he was devastated, you both were devastated, thought for different reasons, maybe not, but you didn't know
mhm.
whether it was different reasons or the same or what it was.
Yeah,
And and this is so, yeah, we've been, yeah, so often one is told not to show that, right? And so I've been, I guess, part of the podcasting experience that I've been going through is to come from where I'm at and to share as much as I feel comfortable with
Yeah.
sharing.
Yes.
And and
Yes.
and, and that has of course changed over time, right?
Mhm. Yeah. When I went through this experience, I mean, obviously, that was my lowest low, and I remember I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was sobbing, and I was saying, "This has devastated me, it's devastated my life, it's devastated the kids," and I said, "Worse, I can never show up in my business again." I was doing just general spiritual empowerment. I'm like, "I can never show up because nobody is gonna believe me because look at what this train wreck of my life, look at how awful this is." And I remember they were like, "No, no, no, Laura. It wasn't believable before because you were just happy and it was easy. If you can show people what you're going through and that you can still be happy despite that, or that you can still laugh even though," they're like, "That's the growth. That's the power, and that's what you're not seeing right now." And at the time, I really kind of couldn't see it because I thought, "No, I have to be a leader. I have to be perfect. I have to, you know, walk my walk and talk my talk. I can't be here." But that is truly where I have helped more people is because, like you, I would show up where I was at, and I would talk about things, and I would be messy, and then we could find that connection, and when there's 2 or more down here, we can all help build each other back up.
Yeah. And this is a lesson that takes time. And so I remember I have gotten a lot of guests over the years where we were like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not, my message isn't perfect. This and that, right? And
You're
I'm
like,
like,
"Mm."
please just come the way you are. And I've had guests who share more, guests who share less.
Yeah,
Um, some who go deeper, some who go into more intellectual areas, others who go more into the feeling side of it, and so on and so forth. There's so much variety
yeah,
that have come up over the years, and I've always also realized that usually the guests that come are exactly the right ones for where I'm at the time myself, right? So
yes.
so that's also quite amazing when you think that you don't know the people, you're just setting things up, you have no
Mhm,
idea, right? And then
mhm.
in reality, it's all perfect, right? The way it is, even though it doesn't feel that way.
Yes. Yes. And that's, like, why I think what you do is so powerful too. It's not like, "Here are the 10 questions we're gonna ask people. Bam, 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 bam." It's where are we at? And I feel like it's the whole frequency of we're connected to the listeners. We're connected to the viewers. And we're all in that universal oneness and that connection together. And we're serving that. And that energy will attract other people when they're going through something similar as well. And I really do trust that it will all work out. And sometimes it's like, oh, great, nobody's watching this one right now, or nobody's listening. It doesn't matter. The people who will find it, who need to find it, will find it.
Yeah, that's another thing of trusting the whole thing, right? Because yeah, and I've been doing this over 6 years now, and it's like, oh wow, right?
Yeah.
And other shows, yeah, they've been doing it, and they stop after a month or after a few weeks or this and that, or they get so many more listeners or whatever else, right? Or viewers, right? It's like, okay, yeah, that I'm not here to be perfect anymore. I'm not here
Mm-mm.
to, like, at the beginning I had setups where you had to cut so much, you had to edit, you had to do all of that, right? And
Yeah.
over time I've come to a process where that is not no longer necessary,
Mhm.
and it feels right.
Yes.
And so that it's like, wow, these things change.
Mhm.
And if you allow them to, right?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and like I could have been hung up about all of those things, like, okay, it was way too much work, this and that. Okay, then I will stop, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
instead, things developed and changed, and things have come to where it is now, and we'll see where it goes. I
Yeah.
don't know, right? I have no idea exactly what's going to happen, and
Mhm.
I have no certainty about the future at this point
Mhm.
in my life. So it's okay. I guess there's a lot of people who don't know what's coming for them, whether anything will work out or not. They don't
Right.
know, just like I don't know.
Mhm. But it's
And
that willingness, you're willing to show up. There's times where I feel like we are called to take the reins, and then we're willing to do that, and then there's times we're called to surrender, and we have to be willing to do that, and it's just, like we were saying earlier, do you know better or does God know better? And you have listened and you've surrendered, and you're allowing yourself to be led, but you're also not totally hands off. You're still showing up. You're still connecting with people, and I think there is that balance for all of us.
it's very hard to connect with people in the midst of devastation.
It
And
is.
and so it yeah, but nonetheless, it's like wow. Um, and Also, the show has changed right over the years, which is also very interesting because it used to be called the Holy Spirit's Curriculum of Joy, and for a long time, I'd
Wow.
have the question, "How did you come to see the world the way you do today?" as an opening question.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what are you passionate about? How does
Yeah.
it contribute to your joy? And the title has become At Home Is Now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I changed, the focus has changed
Mhm.
accordingly, and the message is changing, but it's still all the interviews and conversations I've had in the past are so valuable,
Yes.
and they just had a different focus, and had a different capacity to show things that I can't, that are not there to show right now, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and like that, they were perfect in that now, and this is perfect in this now, and who knows what tomorrow's now will be.
Yeah, and of course the now is still now, because when a person looks at it in the present, it's still a
Yes.
present experience.
Yes. Yes. And when conversations come from heart, that resonance is really truly there, and it can continue to speak truth to whoever needs it in whatever now they are in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and even when it doesn't come from the heart, it's good.
That's true. You know what? That is true. That's true because it can serve a whole different purpose.
Yeah, so I never, I've had to accept that I'm coming from where I'm at now, and
Mhm.
and it may not be the heart, it may be all these jumbled feelings, all these horrible um,
Right.
emotions and thoughts that are
And that's
present,
okay.
and,
Yeah,
and that's where
totally
I'm
okay.
at now. And at other times I was at a place where I was hiding things, or trying to be correct, or trying to serve a certain purpose, or trying to say a certain thing and concentrating on that with all my might. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the way it was at that point, right?
Mhm.
And that has its value as well.
Right. Right. And wherever you're at is the right place. It's I think this is a course one too, but it's like, where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to who? And it's like, yeah, where would you have me go? And I can trust that I can do that. And sometimes I will say things that might be incorrect according to something else, but they're correct because it's where you're at now.
Yeah. And yeah, and the thing is, I've also learned you can feel so guilty for something you haven't done.
Totally.
Yeah, you haven't done it. You feel so guilty that you'll say, I'm guilty, I did it, I'm truly at fault for all of this, right?
Right.
And it's not true.
Nope.
And you're
Not true
still
at all.
feeling that way and you're still saying it.
Mhm.
And so it's like, oh my God, and like you were speaking of betrayal, right? Wow, I'm betraying myself every single moment, every single day in so many ways. So who am I to think that I have a right to judge everyone else because of that, right? They're betraying themselves as well, and I'm betraying myself. And when we are focused on telling each other how awful we are,
Mhm.
um, we're all lying to each
Yeah.
other and perpetrating a lie. But even when I'm speaking this way doesn't mean I'm speaking the truth. I'm only coming from where I'm at and the way I'm capable of speaking about things at this point.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And that again is that awareness that, you know, it's really hard for anybody to be in ultimate truth at any period in time based on what we're going through. And just recognizing I might be defensive, I might be hiding, I might be guilt ridden, I might be whatever it is, but it's still where I'm at right now. Because we don't have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about being us.
Yeah, and in this dream, you will never be perfect.
Mm-mm.
So, but nonetheless, of course, in Miracles says we are infinitely valuable in the mind of God, and we already are perfect, right?
Yeah.
Now, the question, the other side of it is my experience, and in that experience, I'm not perfect, right?
Mhm.
And
Mm.
I don't feel infinitely valuable,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like I'm infinitely trustworthy, right? Because in the
Mhm.
Course of Miracles, it speaks about how much God trusts his son, right? His child.
Yes.
And so it's like, or her child, whatever we want to say, right? The
Right.
parent trusts the child implicitly, completely, absolutely, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I- we don't, I don't feel that way. I don't feel that I'm trustworthy in that way,
Mhm.
right?
But then if you can look at it, like, in terms of children that we raise, sometimes their mistakes are the biggest lessons. And, like, my son just recently had signed a one-year lease, and he cut the lease short because he got a different job in a different state. And you would not believe how expensive it is, the damages for breaking a lease. And it's like, you know what? That's the best lesson you could have, though, because now you know about how expensive these consequences can be. And same thing. It's like, even if they're little and they stay up too late and they're tired the next day, I'm so glad you stayed up late and were tired because now you learn why I'm saying go to bed on time because I just want you to be awake. So sometimes the lessons, I feel like we should celebrate all the mistakes. And it's like, yep, I messed that one up, but now I know. Yep, I messed that one up, but now I know.
Yeah. Well, I often, at this point, I don't feel like I'm capable of correcting mistakes,
Mhm.
right? So
Mm.
it's like, okay, I can't correct mistakes. Like I said, I can't fix myself, right?
No.
I don't even know how to do that. And so the whole thing is, and even if I thought I knew how to do it, it probably would be wrong, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
so so you again and again get these hopes up, you know what to do, let's do this and then it will work, right? And it doesn't. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't fun at all. It's not working.
No. Nope. No.
And so it's a very so it's like you learn through mistakes. One says that, right? But is it really, like, it's always these acute accusations, if you made a mistake once then never do it again, right? But what is the truth of the matter? I make the mistakes again and again and again
Uh-huh.
and again, and I don't learn from it,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, I'm not learning from my mistakes, right?
Mhm.
And then the other side is learn from your successes.
Mhm.
But am I learning from my successes? Am I doing it any better? Am I following my passion? Am I doing that? Am
Mhm.
I even capable of following my passion in the current state I'm in, right?
Right.
No, I'm not, right?
Right. And maybe that's the perfection right there.
Yeah. Who knows, right? I don't.
Right.
Yeah. So we've been talking for an hour now,
Oh my
and
gosh, that's crazy.
so if there's anything you'd like to add or share or put put out front and feature
Yeah.
now, please do so.
Hmm. I think the biggest thing to share is kind of what we've been talking about, that what if this was right? You know, what if we didn't have to fix anything? What if we weren't supposed to learn or change or grow? Like, what if this is it? And just being able to broaden our minds a little bit more, to let go of what the expectations of what we think we should be doing, and to just rest in that assurance that truly all things are working out in a divine order, and I just don't see it, and that's okay because maybe I'm not supposed to see it right now.
Yeah, that's another aspect of what would happen if I did see why things are going
Mhm.
on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 'cause that could totally ruin it.
Hmm. We don't know. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that would ruin everything, and we wouldn't be able to. No, we certainly wouldn't be able to have the experience we're having right now.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Totally for sure.
No matter what else, other consequences it has, you wouldn't be able to have the experience you're having if you knew it all.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe we just get our fingers in the pie and mess things up, so it has to be hidden from us.
Yeah. We if we know if the purpose is in the not knowing, included in the not knowing, in order to fulfill that purpose, then of course it would be wrong to know the purpose, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea though.
Yeah.
So, okay, then I'd like to thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me. It was a really deep conversation, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate the conversation.
You're very welcome. I would like to thank all viewers and listeners of the podcast. Please let people know about it, subscribe to it, and if you want to be a guest, reach out to me. And if you know of someone who would be a great guest, please let them know about it or let me know about it so we can make the connection and get more guests that would like to be on the show and get the chance to be here.
Perfect.
Blessings to you all, and till next time.